Welcome to the castle, everybody. This is Night Saber Z42, and today I'll be taking a look at Ancestral Weapons, a weapon creation rules supplement for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. These are rules for magical heirloom weapons for use in the world's greatest role-playing game. Well, we'll see about that. But this is offered by the DM's Guild. And I believe this also has achieved Electrum status on said website. This is by Matt Vaughn with some cover art by Fernando Gregory Milan, which was actually really cool, by the way, and chapter art by Caustic Dusan with some Wizards of the Coast stock imaging used throughout this book. So this book can be separated into about 6 different chapters. This runs about 29 pages, if I'm not mistaken. The way that this is thrown out there, this is basically about acquiring a piece of equipment from your ancestors and then upgrading it. So this is another equipment upgrade set like we've had with the Complete Armorer's Guide and Armaments of Legacy. But this one's a little bit different, and we're going to see how. So we get a nice introduction chapter that basically lays out the basic mechanics of this system. So you're going to get spirit points as you level up, which you'll use to upgrade your weapons and armaments, which is really cool because you as the character or the player get to choose what upgrades your weapon will get. Ancestral weapons, what are they, how to get them, and a little bit more about spirit points. The thing you need to know about spirit points, though, are that you can only have a number of spirit points equal to your character level plus 2. So first level characters can only have a maximum of 3 spirit points. The spirit points can also be broken down into different rarities, or basically how much you can expect to acquire based on the rarity of said weapon. So if your weapon has between 16 to 25 spirit points into it, then it's going to be a legendary item. P.S. By the way, when your weapon gets their 20th spirit point imbued in it, it also gives you 5 extra spirit points to unlock the full powers of its ancestors. And that really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but oh well. There must be some mechanical reason for that. So there's a breakdown of what to do when you get your spirit points. Basic things, you get spirit points, you buy different powers, and it's in your weapon. That's pretty much it. There are some restrictions, and there are some different costs to different abilities. There are limitations to the upgrades, so if the upgrade that you have has a limited tag, that means you can only have 2 upgrades, and so you can actually replace earlier tags by just overriding them. And then there's something that you can do to basically reset your weapon, and it's called refocusing, and it's basically up to the DM's discretion if you want to do that. So it's basically saying that the player isn't really happy with what he got, and he didn't know what he was doing, and he would like to refocus and basically do something else. That's pretty much how it is. You know, we've all had those types of players who want to test out a new class, and then by 5th level they want to change their 2nd level abilities because they really didn't like it. So that's kind of all it is. Since these are basically magic items, you do have to attune to them, and since these are ancestral items, you can only make use of the abilities of that weapon if you possess that bloodline. So there's a whole list of different upgrades, and they are separated by tiers. So you have tier 1, which is levels 1 through 5, tier 2 above 5, tier 3 above 10, and tier 4, which is above level 15. And I really do like that these tiers they're here. They make sure that your players don't get too powerful too quickly. And I really do appreciate that these abilities right here are separated by tier, which is something I'm thankful for because there's so many abilities. It would be a pain in the butt if all of these abilities were here, but they were sorted by alphabetical order. I believe that limited spells or limited effects are given priority in the list. So there is also that. Overall, these different powers are kind of just like what you would expect to find in a magic item. There isn't really anything that stands out to me that says this is game breaking. So that's the way it really should be. And that's across all tiers. And of course, when you get to tier 4, you're going to be getting to some really amazing and awesomely powerful abilities. But nothing really ever seems game breaking, exploitable. And that's really good because when you start changing mechanics of a game, especially one that has magic in it where it's already kind of a little bit game breaking, you really do start worrying about game balancing, and incorporating something new can basically change that whole economy. When you're designing something for that type of game like 5th edition, you really do have to be careful with what you're adding because it could be game breaking. So then your ancestors can have some traits that can be imbued inside of your weapon. This is really something that's just for flavor text. I really didn't care for it. And then you can create non-ancestral weapons. So basically saying that if you don't possess a bloodline, you can still use this, but here you go. There's some quick build examples. And there's also some options for crafting magic items, which who does that in 5th edition? Just kidding. And then you can get into your weapon's history, so you can actually choose where did that weapon come from, basically? How did your ancestors acquire this weapon? And how many generations has it been in, and so forth? And so it's a little bit of fluff text, but let's be honest. If you as a player are creating your backstory for your character, you're already going to have most of this basically fleshed out already. And so this is a very nice gesture. I would only use this to get some ideas, but ultimately I know a lot of players out there really are that into building their backstories. And so this kind of seems paltry in the whole scheme of things. And then you have some example ancestral weapons. So in case you need something that's quick, or if you need something that's, a little bit more fleshed out, let's say that an NPC character might have, then you could use one of these 4 items. And these 4 items in particular were created by playtesters of this supplement. And so it comes with the whole backstory and all the upgrades. And it's really interesting. I would definitely take a read through for this part just to kind of get some ideas going in your head. But you have Griffin's Rest, Keshikin's Ilma, you got Staff of the Homing Tree, and then the Windblade, which all have pretty epic sounding names. And then, of course, we have the appendix, which is a crafting table, the cost and how many days it takes, and how many spirit points are within that tier. So there you go, from the Dungeon Rollers. A really interesting supplement, I will say. Would I use this? Yes and no. I would not use this merely just for ancestral weapons. I really like the ideas in this book or in this supplement. I like the whole upgrading your weapons by using spirit points. I like this a lot more than the Armaments of Legacy, which basically has the upgrades already determined for you. And it only upgrades but when your characters reach a different tier of play. I like this because you can keep adding and changing your weapon. So how I would use this in my own game, I would actually use this as a sentient weapon. So your weapon upgrades and levels up with you, and you can basically share in leveling its abilities up. I like this a lot more than Armaments of Legacy, but Armaments of Legacy does have its uses. Don't get me wrong. It really does. And I kind of like this a little bit more than the Complete Armorer's Handbook, although there's a place for that one as well. I like this one because it offers your players options, and more options are always good without being too taxing. They're already leveling up their character, so why not level up their equipment as well? This makes it so that, you can still have that low magic item economy, but still having enough magic flavor in your campaigns. And that's what I really like. So that's all that I have for now. Feel free to leave a comment down below. Give this video a huge thumbs up to support this series, and subscribe if you would like to see more. And I will see you guys in the next video.